Hi, my name's Pharaoh, and I'm going to continue with the class challenge. I noticed earlier while I was setting this up that I actually had the wrong number on my logo for the last one. So I had number 1 still on the logo. So hopefully I've now got number 3 on the logo. I don't know how that happened. And in general, I'm going to just carry on where I left off. But where I left off, we had just got a new ship to kind of be a little bit better.
Ignition says,
High ignition, high grav naught, by the way. I just got a new ship, not an upper class one. I just still had the C class one, but the important part was that it had more slots, so I've got a bit more space. It will have stats because starting stuff like starting multi tools and starting ships tend to be a bit flat when it comes to stats. So now I've got something that might help me with hyperdrive. And can I also just ask, just with a thumbs up for an answer would be good. Can you hear the Clio reading at the moment? Because I changed something and I'm not 100% sure if she's still reading things out. While I'm asking that, I'll just take this off the screen. Where are we? The rules chart. There we go.
Axon Ignition says, hello Cleopatra. Graph Nord says, I didn't hear earlier.
So, did you hear it then? Either of those two. You
Axon
did.
Ignition
Cool.
says, I did hear it. Graph Nord
Cool.
says, I hear her now.
Thank you very much. I can rest easy. I had that uneasy feeling, especially as the stream didn't seem to be starting as I'd expected. That things weren't quite working, but because I was messing around with a few things in OBS, which is always dangerous to mess around with a few things in OBS before you go streaming. And for those that don't really know much about streaming, OBS is the kind of catch-all, very simple software that I use rather than using any proprietary stuff. Software I'm using to stream, basically. So yeah, if you're reliant on a piece of software,
Wear a green cap and green t-shirt. We all know if the green screen's working.
no, the green screen's working. Although I also have background removal on because the green screen doesn't work from above this level here upwards because my green screen is just on the back of my chair. So I do want to invest in a green screen very soon, actually. But it's not. Green screen options just don't seem very good these days. I'm really not sure which one to go for, so I'm kind of humming and hawing. Like I do with everything, I don't like to have buyer's remorse. I like to properly research things. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and push on with the next stage, which is I'm going to go back to the chat now, just so I can point out what I'm doing. So on this rules chart, in order to qualify to upgrade my ship to B class or my multi-tool to B class, I need 60 cargo slots in my exosuit and I need 6 C class modules in my exosuit. And if I turn that off a second, I only have 4 C class modules. I think they're all modules. I think I checked last time. And so I don't even have space for 6 right now. And ideally, I want to get a couple more. I could probably buy one now, so I'd have 5. So actually, well, I'll do that without even leaving the chatting for a second. So exosuit modules over here. I mean, I could get anything here. And another movement module might help. A shield module might help. Maybe shield might be a good idea in case I get hit by a pirate when I'm on the planet. That can be a death in this circumstance. So we now have the full... Why didn't that... That's strange. Why didn't that put a white line around it? That's very odd. Oh, I know what it is. It's probably because the stat... Yeah, core health, not shield strength. That's fine. Core health is going to help me. In fact, that's probably better at this stage. So, where are we? So I need one more slot here.
Ignition says, somebody tweet Murray, in case he's forgotten, the 10th YR.
I will definitely be...
Update.
I will definitely be taking a break partway through, maybe an hour in or so. And just we'll chat about the upcoming update, what we think, when we think it actually will drop, when we think the emoji will drop, etc. But let's save that for about an hour in. We'll have a chat and we'll come back into just chatting and do that. Just to break things up a bit. Now, my strategy here is going to be to use the guild guys, but most importantly at this stage, the way No Man's Sky has been structured since the Switch update, the first Switch, when I think it was 4.0 when Switch came along, it's been structured to make all of these local missions actually give you things that are useful depending on the level you are. And so I'm going to go for some exosuit upgrade charts because it's the most simple and basic thing. And then all I really have to do is run a few of these missions. I'm also going to try and stack some of these missions. So I'm going to select that one. And delivering an item, I don't think that's going to stack. But what I'm going to do before I start worrying about the other ones is I'm going to go to the other space stations I've been to and see what else we can pick up and what can stack.
Yeah, I noticed that. The space station missions actually give useful stuff now.
Yeah, and it's been for quite a while, but it wasn't a really big focus. They mentioned it more in interviews around the time of that update rather than in the patch notes. And they didn't specifically say what we've done is, but what they did talk about progression and rejigging the progression. And then in the patch notes, they probably mentioned the mission agents were slightly different, but they didn't really underline it that much. So that's another kill creatures. I think that's what I just had, wasn't it? Yeah, creature extermination. So they're stacking now. So I only have to do one of those, and both of them will actually get done. That's quite tempting. But again, I might wait. Actually, see, some of these things can change once you start handing things in. So I'm reluctant to just grab everything. That's quite an easy one. In fact, that's a very easy one. So I'll definitely grab that. They shouldn't change, but I have noticed that they do sometimes change. And reported it to them as a bug. But I've got quite a few space stations now. I'm just going to go to the last one in the list each time. And it's kind of a strategy to use these things. I see another 13 creatures, so that's excellent. That's another stack. Scan minerals will send me into a particular place, which I don't really want to be doing right now. It's another collect dioxide. That's interesting.
Navigational data received.
See, hang on. I've got what? I bet this will stack. So I'm going to grab that as well. Because it's saying I've already got the dioxide. So just take it to a client. My bet is that they'll both tick off if I take this to a client immediately. So let's just test that out. Then we'll know if it's stackable for the future. It usually just takes you to a trade post. I think there's one other place it can take you. I can't remember though. This one's definitely a trade post. Yeah, so this is a general tip for any person playing the game, as is the accumulating a bit of early seed money using the trade system, which is what I was doing. It's kind of my default way of playing this game, really. Now let's see if they've both ticked off. One's ticked off. Should scroll. Yep, both of them are ticked off. That's interesting. So we can return to the mist agent. We've got to remember that we don't have as much dioxide though. So how much have we got now? And that'll do. We've got enough to keep ourselves going. We don't want to suddenly be caught short of dioxide. I could have killed the creatures while I was there, but I'm going to stack a few more of those. Hopefully. I also might go through, on the galaxy map, I think there was a black hole being marked already, so I might go through that. Handy missions. That one and that one. See, I think one of them might have changed. It's given me cash. Oh, actually, I didn't really look at the other one. I was just checking to see if they were stacking. So it probably was only supposed to give me one. But that's actually handy because I'm just going to use this immediately. And I'm going to put another one here. Then I'll have my 6 modules. And then I can just worry about stacking these creatures. Don't really like asymmetrical ships, but it was the first one that came along that had enough storage for me. It's got okay storage. I'm not using it all, so that's a good sign. We used to get asymmetrical fighters, didn't we? Years ago. I don't think I ever had one. Now, there's some free nanites available here because theoretically this is a single creature planet. Theoretically, I can check in a minute, but there it is. It'll soon tell me when I've scanned it anyway. Yep. Always handy. And also, it helps with the discovery missions, which means that we can hand them in to... I've forgotten his name now. The annoying guy I never actually talk to, generally. At the anomaly. Antimatter housing, we haven't got it at the moment. Sodium nitrate, we haven't got them. We haven't got any of these things right now, but we need to make a few. haven't got enough carbon. Blimey. I suppose it's because I've got loads of condensed carbon. I've mostly been...
Graph Nord says, it's either Helios or us.
Ares, yeah, the Ares is the one. Helios, I always speak to because he just gives you free nanites for having just looked at stuff. But Ares will give you stuff for progressing your milestones, like the things that pop up that say, oh, you've done this or that, you've discovered this many planets now, or whatever. The annoying pop-ups, as most people would consider them. So we're going to need to make a little bit of sodium nitrate. Because we're going to be doing this a lot, I probably want to make a few of each of these. That'll do. Sodium. I've got more than 50 sodium. What's going on there? Must be in the other one. There we are. It's another general tip I use all the time but don't often make a mention of. If you pick up a stack and you just keep dividing it by 2, which in my case is hitting the X key, you can go down to single figures, and then when you scroll back higher, then it will keep it in tens. So if you wanted to say pick up 200 of these things, I would pick it up, keep dividing down until I'm in single figures, which is quite quick, and then I just go up to 200 exactly. I find that a lot easier than kind of subdividing, adding a few here and there. I can't remember how much of this I need. It's not a lot. Is it just 10? Let's double check. Just 10. So really I want 50. Let's just chuck another 100 in. And then I want to make a load of antimatter housing, so I'm going to need to get a bit more oxygen, which I should have back at base, but I probably need to grab a bit now for this one. And a bit more ferrite dust, which I could probably just... Oh, that's going to make magnetite. Do I have any of that? Nope. Again, I think I was refining some of that back at the base. That's ferrite dust. I've got at least one, and then I can go and get some of these resources to stack them together. So I just need a little bit of oxygen, but not an awful lot. So I don't know why I skipped into what's carbon. I'm not seeing any oxygen. Oh, there's some. I'm just going to go for that rather than looking for plants right away. Because again, we don't need much of it. Probably just enough, yeah. Okay, so we need to make... We got that. I'm going to put it over here. get one more module and we'll be done with that particular part of the challenge for going to B class. Pop back to my base and get some oxygen. Now, this is the point where I would normally glitch build in an extra oxygen thing at my base, but there's no glitch building really, I don't think, in this challenge, because if you allow glitch building, it's the thin end of the wedge, because you can do all sorts of things with glitch building to duplicate stuff and all sorts. So I might have to see if I can put another oxygen thing further away when I need more, see if I can kind of space it out. Can't remember if you can do that. Now, did I leave some stuff refining? I thought I did. So I've got plenty of ferrite dust. I need anything else. It's not going to let me know, it isn't. At some point I'll put a battery and a proximity switch here, but for the time being I'll just use single oxygen. Again, you see I split down XXXXX on my controller to just get to 1. Whatever the split stack option is on your screen. Yes, we haven't been to this one yet, so let's check. You got any more kill creatures for me? You have, and it's an exosuit chart. Excellent. And they're just nanites. I'm not as important. See if we've got a movement update up here, upgrade up here. I've gone to the wrong black guy. What am I doing? That might be worth looking at him as well. Yes. Okay, so we now have the requirement of 6 modules. So we just need to worry about the exosuit now. Which will be a bit of a grind, but at least we'll be doing missions and things. I have no idea what the limit is for the number of missions. You seem to be able to get a lot of missions. Maybe a certain number of pages. So, for instance, on here, we've got 2 pages at the moment. Maybe it caps out at a certain number. I don't know. I've never taken it that far. Creatures, excellent. Also minimizing the number of creatures I'm killing. See, I'm tempted to get that because I've probably got 250 pyrite, but I don't want the distraction right now. stay on target with killing creatures. Because otherwise I'd have to have gone to a particular planet for that one. Whereas these are any planet you can go. Oh, all of them are Viking missions. That's unusual. Scan minerals, kill 14 creatures. It's only going to give me units, but I might as well grab it because it will stack. Of course, we're also gaining reputation with whichever mission we're selecting. So some of them will be race missions and some of them will be guild missions. I think I've only seen the Merchants Guild so far because I think I've only been in one region. Kill creatures, nanites and units, so it's not what we need. But again, it's stacking anyway. Kind of tempted to go for that if it had the right reward, but it doesn't. And the reason I'm going to the last one in my list is because they scroll around, which you probably know. Gives me omic gel. I mean, I don't know why I really want that, but sentinel creatures with exosuit, excellent. Nope, nothing else I really want there. Oops, I just jumped.
Axel Ignition says, "Well, the Kozlov system, we are so back." The other thing I keep meaning to do that I haven't done yet. I've got in my starship these things. I should be just dumping them on NPCs. I might do that as well. Haven't got a Gek relic. Okay, I'll continue to give him these until we run out. Should really be getting the language from him as well, but I'll do that when I run out. I did practice, silly me. That worked out for me anyway. I usually go for the friendship symbols first. Oops, I hate that strobing. I think it's dangerous. Another traveller. We should speak. Have faith. Not all dreams are idle fancies. Not all fictions are untruths. Perhaps all of this is based in something real. Perhaps we did once exist long ago. Proof here. Look at this. The traveller removes an object from their exosuit. It looks abstract. Crimson, flesh-like, perfect. Look at the object. I look at the object and I am filled with a sense of hope.
Everything will be all right. I know it. Nothing can hurt me. All I have to do is believe and have faith. Not in a deity, not in some universal tyrant. No, it is this right in front of me. Okay. Pulled something from his suit that was perfect. Not strange at all. Never confused. Ah, I went to the wrong one, but never mind. Friendship symbol is available. And if the friendship symbol isn't available, I usually go for what their speciality is.
Okay, question time. With the full quest line completion rewarding you with all 16 GLYPHS, are travelers redundant / obsolete now?
No, because it's up to you how you do it. And it's great for things like challenges, although we don't allow using portals in this particular challenge. For some challenges, it really works out well. So you don't want to remove it. It doesn't become completely redundant. My favourite way of getting all the glyphs is to complete through to the Purge. Also, you get the memory stuff. So I'll go and find that in a minute. Did I already look here? I don't think I did. I can't remember now. Yeah, 15 creatures, kill 10 creatures. That's an definitely want that one. I definitely want that one. So let's go and get that. Just demonstrate what you do get. Be able to have space to put whatever it gives me in, but they can give you some quite useful things early on. Things you'd otherwise have to pay nanites for. And build, of course. Sentinels, where are the do they come from? Made it my life's work to find, left logs, records across worlds. The fallen traveller's grave is marked with a glyph, an epitaph of some ancient technology. Also obtain the glyph and with the ability to travel to unknown worlds. I leave the fallen traveller in peace. Okay, so I get the glyph, but I also get that memory fragment. That memory fragment, you can ingest it. I didn't know you could ingest it. I wonder what that actually does. Does anybody know what happens if I ingest it? Yeah, let's take that away. The most important, actually, let's just test, see what happens if I do ingest it. I'm just going to reload after I've done it because I'm not going to do that. It just gave me the thing anyway. Okay. I don't see what the difference is.
Lord says, ingest means to open it.
Yeah, but there was already a...
If you ingest it, you warp into Hilbert.
see if there's a difference. Oh, I was thinking I had two options, consume and open, but I don't. I just have quick transfer. Yeah, okay, so it just means to open it. Oh, it's a different thing, though. Probably would have been better off with the other thing. I don't know what it was. But at least this is a C-class module I could use for something. Probably not going to use a blaze javelin, but I can always break it down. Right.
Axel Ignition says, "Not it wasn't a better thing, it was a plasma launcher."
Okay. Well, plasma launchers are a little bit dangerous they're not as bad as a geo cannon. Well, no, actually, geo cannons can be. They can both be quite dangerous. Geo launcher thing. I wouldn't necessarily have put the plasma launcher in. You need to make sure you've got decent shields. Although I do have lots of shields. Probably not great though. See if that plasma grenade bounces back at you. It's nasty.
Axel Ignition says, "That's what I meant, it wasn't a better thing." Plasma launcher has ended a run of many a Permed PLYRS.
Yep, it has. Can't remember where I started now because I didn't really pay attention, but we'll know when we get there, when we've got to all the stations, because we'll get to one that we've already selected stuff in. Salvage frigate module, kill 10 creatures, excellent. Getting quite a lot of kill creatures that are also the right thing that we want. This coffee is good. Slightly worried I've got a lot of it. I don't want to be drinking all of it. Yeah, 10 creatures. Nope. So this is a little bit tedious just going from system to system, but it's a strategy. And it's a very effective one. I mean, so we've already been here, so we've gone around them all now. So now we just want to go down somewhere where there are creatures and shoot a load. Probably up to 15, I think it was. It's a tropical planet, that should be promising. Rather be in the daytime. Is this my base planet? It looks very similar. No, it isn't.
guess it hasn't got the trees that the base planet has. What are those over there? Must be a building, mustn't it? Hang on, let's scan creatures before we kill them. Terrible pea shooter. What's in the way of that? It must have been the other creature, I think. Hit me first. Nasty. Although I do have some meat that I can get my hit points back with. As long as he's friendly. I'm going to go... Where was that building we saw? There's another building there, but that's not the one I saw. I lost it now. It's visible from over here. Is it there? Yeah, so it is. It was a transmission tower. It was the same one. Well, that's a bit pointless going to a transmission tower, although there would be other stuff there. Not much, though. So I've got 5 so far. Guess I could probably kill him as long as I keep my distance. Oh, he went down surprisingly easily. So that's one of them that's already completed. But I know from some of the others that I need at least 15. That's a reload on one, isn't it? I've got no ammo. That's why. What's coming after me? It's a turning creature. Sometimes they get a little bit upset you've killed their friends. See if they're all logs.
while it's ticking them off, it tends to switch which one's active. Oh no, so that one's returned to mission agent, that one's returned to mission agent. Yes, yeah, that one hasn't. So there must be a few more I need. 14 out of 15. There we go. That should be all of them, I think. I think 15's maximum for these. Yep. So of course the one thing you definitely need to do when you're stacking these things early game, when you haven't progressed very far, make sure you've got enough inventory to actually put everything in. If they don't give you all the same thing, well, a lot of these are going to be the same thing though, or nanites or money. If they give you other things, you could not get it all. Getting a few guilds there, which is handy, especially Merchant's Guild. It looks like I might actually be able to claim stuff from this person. So the way we've got the rules working, we have to donate things from here, whatever the maximum is allowed, before we can redeem anything. But that could actually be quite nice to get some Starship launch fuel. So donating something like salvage data could be quite handy. Right, so we've got 5 exosuit upgrades and a load of other bits and pieces. Let's sell some of this meat. That's the one we've got the most of. Let's put that there for a second. We'll sell all the rest. Products. No. I want 50 of that. Did I always have? Yes, I did. Got enough of that. Got 5 of those. We just need to make 5 of these. We only got enough for 4. What are we missing? The ferrite. Probably got enough. We can probably mine that when we're on the planet. Another strategy would be to get a load of navigation data. We've only got a couple at the moment. I haven't been focusing on that. And get enough to go and search for multiple minor settlements and see if we can find a big batch of drop pod data that we can buy in one of the terminals. that could take just as long, so... I don't want any more of that.
Radiation protection falling.
Graph Nord says, the exosuit charts are also available in trading post-galactic trade terminals.
Yeah, and that I'm more likely to go to those.
Axon Ignition says, early game NMS is exciting, then you settle into a rhythm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Received. Received.
If I was making a dairy, this would be a good place. Got the herd. So we get loads and loads of these that would all come to one spot. And we've also got eggs as well.
Received.
Don't worry about that if we actually end up using the nutrient ingester. So just for clarity, if you're not really familiar with these things, that one there where it says plus 33% core health, what that's actually given me is an extra hit point. I'll show you when we land. Higher class ones will have a chance of giving you both of those, both the hit point and the health. If I hit left on my controller, on the left D-pad, brings up the interface, and you can see 4 little pluses at the top there underneath the shield.
Radiation.
So that's one extra. So I've now got a little bit more capability of being hit before I die. Yes, once I've exhausted these, maybe we'll look for a few trade terminals on the planet. See if we can buy some. But we have to be lucky because it seems not that common a drop in the trade terminals. spending a little bit of time here. We got rare ground, underwater. Yeah, this is possible to get, and it will give me 2,750 nanites. So that's probably worth hanging around on this planet if I don't spot everything while I'm looking around. Just getting the rest of those. That's a different creature.
Received. Radiation protection falling.
There was one. Where is he? Oh, there he is. I think if there was one basic thing that I'd like them to improve in No Man's Sky,
Incoming storm.
it's the way they put the creatures together. At the moment, I do like the way they go together, but I feel like it's dated now, and that we could probably get a better method of building these creatures out of parts that was a bit more varied and a bit more aesthetically pleasing, I think. Talking of what I'd like to see, we're about an hour in, so let me just grab this last one and then we'll have a bit of a pause and chat. Mine it, but there's a nasty storm brewing out there, so I'm not going out there. Not quite enough yet.
haven't heard a second storm warning, so I don't think there's any tornadoes. Again, I've got to make it first. Oh, that's handy. That's a bit more ferrite.
Technology repaired.
Okay, so that's the 5 we got. I'm sure we selected more than 5 things. You see what I say about, I think it sometimes switches up on you. What the rewards are for the missions.
Technology recharged.
It'd be interesting to look back later and see if it actually did have more than 5 things, more than 5. Let's see the. Well, that's water. I actually did do more than 5 missions that had the exosuit. Reward. Isn't water. It looked like water. I'm not going to go to the small water because it's not going to be enough. Let's wait for this storm to clear. In fact, let's pause here for a second. So, do we think the emoji will drop this weekend? And do we think we'll get the update this week coming? Because I'm not sure. It does seem logical, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll look at the other dates of when they've been released. I pull up a browser. Let's pull it up first before I put it on the screen.
Gravnaut says, Emoji Saturday. Update on Wednesday. Axon Ignition says, well, I'm hoping it does. I'm riding on it. I need Murray to help me utilize my allocated 60 hours. Axon Ignition says, yeah, Gravnaut. Grav for president.
So I don't know how. I might need to zoom in on this. Let's see if I can zoom in this way rather than mess around with my. That probably works. Right. So the release was on the 9th of August. We had an update on the 11th of August, Atlas Rises, a major update, but then so were the others around it for that far back. We had Beyond on the 14th of August. We had nothing else in August at all until 4.4. Is that right? Yeah, some of these. I guess we had a June, a July, a June. June, August echoes. It feels weird that it would wait until then. And then we had July and September. We had August. So, yeah, I mean, that Voyager's 6.0, was that really a big update?
some might say it was usually August is the latest for the one before last, it seems. But 24th of August obviously would be a way away, yeah. So it's not guaranteed that it will be around the actual anniversary. That's what I worry about with all of the
Brian 9772 says, Voyager.
That's true. It was the Corvette one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Seems pretty big to me. Axon Ignition says, why did you say you don't expect one this time?
Why did I say I don't expect one? What I mean is, I don't think we should necessarily expect it this week. Just because it's the anniversary this weekend doesn't necessarily mean they will drop the update this week coming if it's not ready. I mean, I don't want them to drop it if it's not ready. I mean, that would be madness. So if they're working on something big and they don't get it out by this week coming, then so be it. But they're not going to tell us, are they? Because they don't tell us anything. They wouldn't drop an update post saying, "Oh, it's going to be late."
72 says, the timing for this week seems right to me.
Well, I agree, and I think that's why nearly everybody is saying, "Oh, we're waiting for an update. It's coming imminently. We'll get an emoji dropping very, very soon." But we might not.
Ignition says, yeah, me too. But is the game on discount?
It was on discount. I believe it isn't at the moment. I can't remember for sure, and because I have the game, it's always trickier to get that.
Axon Ignition says, the Steam discount has been the #1 telltale sign this past 3 years.
It isn't on discount at the moment, no. There is a bundle available. There's a Hello Games bundle, which minus 10%, which is not a massive discount. So if you wanted the 2 Joe Dangers and the Joe Danger Undead movie pack, which I've never even heard of, and The Last Campfire and No Man's Sky, you could get 10% off, which would be in UK nut money £78.07. That's quite a lot of money. It's not a huge amount off for a bundle. Yeah, currently in the UK, the price for No Man's Sky is £50. That's not discounted.
Alphas 195 said,
it has been higher, but that's not discounted.
For president, and I agree.
But Steam discounts can be pretty much started at a whim.
Mission says, Joe Danger. That's what my friend Little Hypotenuse is playing.
It's supposedly quite a good game. Little Hypotenuse. I mean, if you like that kind of game, which is basically a permanent, is it perpetual scroller they call them, or infinite scroller? A little bit like a platform type thing. I've only seen it, I've not played it. I assume it's a little bit like a infinite scrolling, jumping and getting rewards, as a bit like
Mission says, good evening, Alphas 195.
I can't think. A bit like Sonic in its basic form, but on a motorbike. You do stunts. I don't know anything else about it. It's not the type of game I'm ever going to play. I like the fact that they put it back on the iPhone after years. I'm not going to stream it. Hi, Alphas.
Says, Hi Ignition Graph Naught. Axon Ignition says, it's time for a Joe Danger stream.
I'll just beat you to it.
Graph Naught says, Hey Alphas 195.
I mean, I do have The Last Campfire. I doubt I would stream that because I played it. I completed it, which means that I would probably be able to at least remember the strategy for the puzzles as I went along. Because puzzles are one of those things that if you haven't quite worked out the thing you need to do, it can take a little while to get a puzzle complete. But once you've at least worked it out once, then you tend to know how to do it again.
What does this update entail? What will it have? That's a bigger question, even if the update's 2 weeks out.
It is a bigger question, and I do want to address that, but I think we need to start off by saying we can never tell. We never really know what Hello Games have actually got in store for us. Will it be a big update? Will it be a really big, it's 10th anniversary, we've saved up loads of things update? My hunch is yes, just because of the size of some of the updates we have seen recently. For instance, you would have thought if they were saving something big up for the 10th anniversary, they could have dropped Corvettes on us. But they didn't. They did that last time. Or they could have maybe dropped that and the Pokemon style update in. Again, they would have felt big. Even though I don't think the Pokemon update really changes the game. I don't think it's that big for everybody. There are a lot of people out there that really like creatures and pets. So yeah, I think it's a bigger update than we sometimes give it credit for. There's an entire kind of sub-community out there that really like pets and that kind of thing in the game. So what kind of thing is an equal kind of bigness or bigger, equal size or bigger than Corvettes? And my hunch is either they go down the thing that is kind of being suggested in the leak, which was a new systems with new types of planets and new biomes in them. And you could theoretically do that as something that you could access earlier in the game. So you wouldn't have to, like Purple Systems, they introduced new systems and it hasn't kind of impacted as many people because you have to get all the way through to the end game in order to unlock them. And I feel like people didn't fully realize how big a change that particular style of terrain manipulation, terrain procedural generation, how big that was, how much of a change that was. But if you introduced a new color system that you could unlock earlier than that, maybe even right at the beginning or quite soon, that could be really cool. Let's go to the anomaly a second. I want to show you something. Oh, can't do it. I'm not quite out of the... I remember to come back to this planet. Get the underwater. There was I think it was just an ordinary Quicksilver thing. And it was just like one of those almost anonymous.
Axon Ignition says, a part of me thinks LNF is coming. So the update for NMS will be LNF.
Yeah, but there won't be, will it? Because they're not going to give away Light No Fire for free. They need the money. Their bank accounts are starting to show the strain a little bit. Yeah, it was just ordinary Quicksilver. Probably under base parts, is it? Yeah. They're probably too old.
Axon Ignition says, "Oh no, I didn't mean free. I meant thank you for 10 years, here's out new game."
No, they're not going to do it. I mean, they could, but I don't think... That's not my hunt. It's not what I would predict. Right. When they released these three fireworks, we did not have access to purple systems. And the fact that Atlantidium was there, and we had seen data miners telling us that purple systems were coming, a lot of people said maybe this is a clue. It's just a little bit of a preempt for there are purple systems coming. And if we go to blue, it was indium. So, okay, we've got blue already, we've got indium already, and then we're going to get purple. The one that confuses me is teal, with zinc as a product. Zinc hasn't been in the game for years, like literally nearly the 10 years. We haven't seen zinc, we haven't seen teal systems. We have blue systems, we have purple systems, we have indium, we have Atlantidium. I mean, in the end, Atlantidium didn't prove to be the thing that was really what we found in purple systems. It gave us the impression that maybe it was all going to be really, really dissonant. Although there's a lot of dissonance in purple systems, so they are associated. Teal and zinc. We haven't got teal systems, but we do have teal on the galaxy map for other things, for instance, economy. So it's perfectly possible they could filter for a system that was teal. And zinc, they could introduce a new element. So I've always felt that this was a clue that they were going to introduce two new coloured systems, and that we were going to get purple systems and we were going to get teal systems. But I assumed we'd get them all at once, and we didn't. We just got purple systems. So my biggest hunch is they've held back teal systems. That they were, when they did purple systems, they were playing with procedural generation. They were playing with this new form of what planets can look like, how they can feel when you go to them, the way the mountains are, the way you can have flat plains and then just a mountain. All sorts of cragginess that you don't see in other planets. I have a feeling that they were messing around with procedural generation more than that. They have another thing, and they thought, well, we could release that now, or we could hold that back, and we could put lots of really cool things in those systems, and then we'll release those systems later for the 10th anniversary. So that's my hunch, that we're going to get new systems, which does also line up with the leak that we may or may not believe is a leak. It could just be somebody just making stuff up. But the last time we had a big leak like that, it wasn't just somebody making it up as far as I was concerned. I felt like it was a leak. It just wasn't the immediate what was coming next leak. But I think this is... I think it all lines up with getting new systems. And the potential for that, if we get new systems and we can go to them quicker, like before the end game, that expands the game dramatically. It could potentially bring in new biomes, and it could do another thing that people are really, really keen on.
A new system, teal, tied to the story.
Yeah, you could tie it to the story. You could put it in earlier, though. But the other thing it gives... I've lost my track now. What was I going to say? Say the other thing it gives you the option for. Yes. Think about what we got for purple systems. We got giant planets. Teal systems could have giant planets, a bit like as many people said when giant planets came along for purple systems, are they testing out some of their procedural generation system for light no fire? Teal systems could literally be a much more expanded system on giant planets. They could just be single planet systems with the maximum that they can get of planets, which would be like the giants, but they could have multiple biomes in them. They could be testing out multi-biomes planets. For the Light No Fire release, not coming this year, but being announced this year and coming next year. And they have plenty of opportunity to mess around with multi-biome stuff to make sure everything's bedded in and they know it's all working before Light No Fire. So again, that kind of lines up with their logic of what they might do too. What do you reckon? How close do you think I could be here? The thing is, I'm really rubbish at guessing what Hello Games are going to do. I will make these grand piles of like the houses of cards, and then we'll get to it, and they'll just come tumbling down because they've released something totally different that surprises me utterly, and I wasn't expecting. But that's what I would say. That's what I would most like to see. The other question is, which of the core procedural systems, if you think of worlds, it updated planets and tech mostly?
9772 says, Teal system seems plausible. I'd be really surprised to see multibiomes. Seems kind of a stretch.
What I mean by multi-biomes isn't so much that you would go to a single planet and you would just see all of the different biomes on the one planet, although you could do that with this kind of system, because you would it would be a bit like going to any other system. You'd have like 4 or 5 biomes in a system normally, and so you have one like giant planet with 4 or 5 biomes in it. But what they could do is they could have the standard biome across the whole planet, and then a frozen band at the poles and a hot band in the middle, thereby having 3 separate biomes plus any underwater biome, any cave biome. That would be dramatically different, and it would answer a lot of those queries that people say, why can't we have multi-biome systems? That's one of the most requested things in No Man's Sky is, can we have multi-biome planets? And I feel like multi-biome planets are something that they shouldn't give us if they just said, let's go to any planet and you get a mixture of all the biomes. That would be a terrible idea, because you're reducing the number of things you would see around the galaxy. You would see it all much quicker because you'd see it on single planets. But I do feel like if you had sensible banding or different zones, like you could have a desert zone specifically on a particular type of planet.
9772 says, underwater stuff seems kind of underdeveloped. I'd like a reason to go to a water world.
See, I feel like underwater is done now. I feel like there are so many different underwater biomes now. There is at least 6 now, I think.
North says, they could also just have a planet with random storm types. Toxic, radioactive, heat, etc.
You mean like, so you wouldn't necessarily always get the storm that you have on that biome? I mean, I think it's an option, and I think if I were Hello Games and I wanted to test the waters for how Light No Fire operates and see what the minimum requirements were going to be for that game, I would probably test it out this way, by putting out a slightly expanded assets, by having like, for instance, if we go back to that planet we were on,
Graph Naught says, and you wouldn't know what storm type was coming next.
yeah, you mean completely random? Okay, like a mix and match storm system where you never know which one you're having. go to the actual water area fully, but I want to locate it so that I know if there's a storm, I can come back to it. There's some land over there. We're going southwest. So I want to go back northeast. I think this is a mega exotic, isn't it? So it's not going to be the ideal example of a planet. But I guess any planet could count. So we're on this planet, and we have these puffy plants, we have these minerals, we have these minerals, we have these large mega flora. This would be the standard biome that you saw outside of the poles and the central hot zone. And then when you go to the middle zone, then there's a higher possibility of desert, and some of these plants start to thin out. You don't see as much opportunity to get carbon. You don't see these minerals in the same, well, you might see the minerals, but the grass or this strange stuff that is like grass would be sparser or wouldn't be there. Maybe the large fauna would disappear. So you'd just have a more sparse area in the central band. And then when you went to the poles, you'd have a frozen version of this. So it wouldn't be a frozen biome asset. It'll be a frozen version of this particular plant. Or you might get frozen minerals that are very similar to these minerals. So you would just kind of change the skin, not the meshes.
Radiation protection falling.
Which is a little bit like they did when they expanded the assets on frozen planets, but more so. You'd just change. You'd have a frozen version of every asset. You might have a frozen version of the plants, the thingy plant. What are they called? Hazardous flora. That could work. That could give us variation on a planet, and just kind of satisfy those people that have always said, why don't we have multiple biomes, by saying, well, we can't have completely different planets because we're going to see more things on one planet, therefore there's not as much reason to explore the galaxy. But we can at least give you some variety of the kind of assets you're seeing as you move around the planet. Did I get all of them? Land creatures. Yep. Yeah, so they're all underwater now. So that's my thinking on multi-biome. So I don't necessarily mean multi-biomes in terms of you see everything on one planet. I mean they could vary a planet's kind of sub-biome, if you see what I mean. What else? What are the other speculations? As you see, some people say they're just going to have a big reset. I don't see them doing that ever again. I feel like we're too mature and into the game to have a huge reset. What other speculations have people seen or have they got of things that they might expect to see? I guess there's always the Captain Steve's continual suggestion that they will have a Realm of Glass system. You could do that with Teal. I'm never 100% sure if we'll ever get that, but a lot of people in that camp.
Brian 9772 says,
Yes, that is another big one, isn't it?
Player-built space stations.
Player-built space stations, yes. I don't want to be able to claim existing space stations, which is obviously a little bit different. I think a lot of people see space stations and say, why can't I just put my own stuff in there?
Shiny new toy. I'm pessimistic.
I think if it's another shiny toy, it will be new types of freighters, a freighter overhaul. That's the most likely new shiny toy. And so, yeah, that would be a bit of a shame. I can't really show you a freighter. But if you think about it, yeah, let's go to another save because I've jumped out of here. So go into my original save.
Alphas195 says, what about the ability to take over abandoned stations?
I'm not keen on the idea. They could do it. It could work. The problem you're always going to have with that kind of thing is it takes away the everything you're seeing being the same as what everybody else sees. So, for instance, if you take over an abandoned station and you colonize it, and somebody else goes there on the Switch where they're not online, they're going to see an ordinary abandoned station, and then when they connect to the internet, they'll see your station. And yes, that does happen to a certain extent with bases, but I think that would be a worse thing to have, because you're technically taking over a major asset of the game, a major point of interest. And I feel that's similar with like these. A lot of people say we have a lot of expansion opportunities here. So if we look up here, these feel a little bit like dead shop fronts or possible space we could utilize, as does under the other stairs here. You know, we could utilize space in here, we could utilize space there, just like they did down the other end. But I think they're reserving this kind of stuff for themselves. So they put this in here, they chucked him under the stairs. I feel like they could easily put something here, as part of the game at some later stage in the game. It's like reserved for them. I don't think it's reserved for us. Whereas buildable space stations, i.e. we could just anywhere else out in an area of space that is far enough away from any other point of interest in space, then let's face it, there are only a couple of places in space it would stop us.
Always puzzled me why they didn't put the fossil guy in one of the sides instead of hiding him under the stairs.
I know, it is odd, but I have a feeling it's because it was the easiest place to put him. And also, if you look at the model, I don't know if we'll be able to see the model easily. Sometimes you can just kind of fly into the side. No, I got caught in the thing too early. The model doesn't expand outwards that way. So, I mean, they obviously could add to the model. There's nothing stopping them adding space there. But at the moment, this is the edge of the model. And there isn't much up here after that. But there is a little bit of space. I feel like they could use these. But I feel like these are more likely shop fronts or things that... But they could have put the... I mean, they could easily have put the fossil guy there. The fact that they put him over here and the fact that they put it next to this guy, I think there's two possible reasons. One, they wanted to put all these assets in, and you could potentially load these assets last after you've loaded everything else, and they're tucked out of the way so you can't see them, so it's the asset streaming wouldn't interrupt anything, so you wouldn't necessarily see any assets popping in. You wouldn't see a pop in of all those things. So maybe that's why they did it there. Or maybe they put it here just because they knew we'd be coming under here to find the scrap dealer anyway. So we'd more like to find him. But I'm surprised they didn't put him over here.
Alphas 19.
This would have been at least just as easy a
For the
space.
life of my haven't visited the fossil guy even once after the expedition ended.
I mean, I haven't visited him since I collected all the heads. It's just not. Again, that's one of those things. It's one of those nice to haves, but it's not like it's not going to keep your interest for that long. But each new player coming into the game might get interested in that for at least a while. Oh, I was thinking, why have I got a settlement? I haven't got a settlement because I've changed game. So yeah, there are options here. Now, there are a few places that you wouldn't be allowed to build if you were allowed to build a brand new space station in space. Or something else that's space-based that we're allowed to build. We wouldn't be allowed to build wherever the ship usually spawns in, which is usually not far from the space station. And we probably wouldn't be allowed to build too close to a planet. But obviously there's loads of other space available. So we'd probably be able to build here, for instance, which is close enough to the space station, close enough to where the freighter is. If I could build something here, that would be great. I'd love that. What would you actually build, though? What would actually be meaningful? The only things I can think of are some kind of expansion of the freighter system where you can dock freighters and do things with freighters, or some kind of expansion of the corvette system where you actually have like a shipyard that you build. Or you could do a shipyard for freighters and corvettes, I guess. I can't see any other reason to have something in space apart from player-driven economy. And this isn't a player-driven economy type of game. I don't see that. Because it's not constantly online. It would have to access the online data constantly to find out what the player economy is actually in the state it's in at the moment. I just don't see that at all. So what else would you have? Maybe you could have just single player economy in that if other people came to your base, they could buy and sell things that you offer. Yeah, I've seen people suggest that. So like for fossils, for instance, we could put various fossils in our base that people could buy.
Used to build space
Or
stations in
eggs,
space
companion
areas.
eggs.
It does have some role-playing possibilities.
Definitely has role-playing possibilities, yes. And I wouldn't count it out. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. But what would it do? You need... I'm saying something that I shouldn't really be saying.
Brian
It would need some depth.
172 says, the appeal for me would be to visit other people's stations and see how they decorated them.
Yeah, which is just the same as bases. So yes, I mean, I may be asking too much of Hello Games to both give us space stations that we can build and visit, and also give them a reason to exist. Because they never really did that with everything else. I mean, yes, we've got bases now that we can use as industrial stations or growing stations for plants. So they do have a function. And I guess you could have the same or similar functions for a space station. Or, as I say, you could do some kind of shipyard system.
Brian 9772 says, the only gameplay angle I can think of is a late game money sink.
Well, we definitely do need late game money sinks. When they first introduced settlements, I thought that was going to be a money sink system, and it wasn't. When they introduced corvettes, I wondered if it would be a money sink system. It proved not, because we seem to be able to get nearly everything without spending any money. There are lots of things that I would love to see a late game money sink, but they've gone the other way. You can get nearly everything from guilds now, so you'd hardly need money anymore. So it's very strange that they seem to have gone away from money.
Brian 9772 says, at this point I wonder if HG is actively avoiding money sinks.
Hi Sam Vines, how you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. Just realised I don't actually have my browser open, so I can't. Okay, that's better. So yeah, I feel like the game does need money sinks, but as you say, they do seem to be going the other way. And I've always felt like they wanted to make the game very appealing. I can say appealable. I've always felt like they wanted to make the game appealing to casual players, and that the game is more casual than some of us that have been playing for a long while would like to admit. Especially as you can play on relaxed, even in normal or even in this permadeath challenge, I'm not really spending money. Right, well, we can continue the chat while I carry on playing now, but I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of a separate chat and pause while we talk about it and think about it properly.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Sam Vimes 9258 says, doing good, thanks. Baking in the heat wave though.
Are you in the UK? I don't remember where you're based, Sam. I mean, Sam Vines makes me think you might be. The name you chose.
Serviento says, nice night sky.
It is a nice night sky, isn't it? No, I haven't got the ability to land on water yet. So let's just land here. You have literally just missed us spending
next week for the 10th.
half an hour or so talking about our speculation on what might be coming out. I paused play and we talked about it for half an hour. But I mean, what are your thoughts about what might be coming? Because I did say we could continue talking about it while I played for a bit.
Sam Vimes 9258 says, I'm originally from the UK, but live in Austria now, right under the heat dome.
Okay, so we've got continental hot weather at the moment, have we? We're lucky at the moment. It's been a bit cooler for the last 24 hours or so, but it's just starting to hot up again. And the weekend, oh, blimey, the weekend is threatening to be a lot hotter again. So I'm not looking forward to that. So that was the nocturnal. One species to go. I don't like this weather. I'd rather not be out exposed in it. Underwater was active common, so we should see that.
Recharged.
Should have used dioxide then. Ah, there it is.
Received.
Alright, let's get out of this weather.
Radiation protection falling.
Still have that strange thing where it has bubbles after you leave the water.
Sam Vimes 9258 says, personally, I'm hoping for a LNF announcement, and probably a large lore update. I'd like a big building update, but I've almost given up hope of that.
Yeah, they seem to be neglecting building recently, and it's been a bit of a shame, especially the way that they've messed up glitch building. They haven't completely destroyed glitch building, but they've done a good job of making it less accessible to the masses. So yeah, I would like them to maybe sort something out with building, but I don't expect it. Hi, Parmenter. I haven't seen you for a couple of streams.
Says, do you think we'll get a new combat update before LNF?
No.
It seems like that'll feature more prominently in that game.
Oh, actually, I say no. Yes, it will feature more prominently in that game. And they could test out, say, for instance, multi-swords. So maybe. I don't expect it, though. But the leak, in inverted commas, which could just be somebody making stuff up, as we were saying earlier, did mention on-planet foes, which would be a form of combat update. And again, something that a lot of people have been asking for. The ability to fight bipedal foes on land.
Brian 9772 says, how do you feel about the leak? I've always hoped it was fake because it doesn't sound that interesting to me, honestly.
See, I think it's true. Is that just not? I'm continually fascinated by this because they're a bit broken at the moment. It looks like it hasn't actually loaded in the textures for the legs, for instance, or maybe they're there and they're just dark. Yeah, it has got some of it at least. I think the leak is true.
9258 says, there was a leak.
Yeah, I made a video about it. I can't remember exactly what I called it. In fact, let me just double check what I did call it. Captain Steve made a video about it. I made a video about it. I think a couple of other people did. Can't even see my own leak. I mean, my own leak. I didn't leak it. It's not me. Can't even see my own video on the leak. How long ago was it? It feels like only yesterday, but it was probably a while ago. Let's do a search on my channel. I did it. I did it as part of the swarm, which is why I'm not spotting it. There we go. There it is. Yeah, so it's called, the title, I will probably change the title now, but it was called The Swarm and the No Man's Sky Leak. Is this the anniversary update? That was the name. Let's see if I can make a copy of that and put it in the share, copy. I'm not saying go and watch it now, but that's the leak. Now, there's a lot of, obviously with leaks, there's speculation as to whether it's even real or not. What I did is I rescued the text from the old Reddit post that had been deleted, and I turned it back into a Word document so I could go through it piece by piece. There was basically, what happened is that somebody
Sam Vimes
on Reddit
258 says, thanks. I'll check it out.
somebody on Reddit posted that and said, obviously this isn't a leak, but, and then they started to detail all of this stuff that we could potentially see in a next update. And it was written in the form of a leak, and it almost certainly was somebody claiming that they were leaking something. But obviously on Reddit you're not allowed to leak stuff. But obviously it then, on No Man's Sky the game, obviously it then got completely removed because you're not allowed to leak stuff. I'm going to go through the black hole. It's still showing up. Oh, all black holes are showing up. Why exactly, at what stage do you get black holes showing up these days? Because I've done nothing. All I've done is got to the anomaly. Which is the closest? Maybe that one. Maybe that one, maybe... Oh, this one's closer.
Gravnaut says, all you have to do is talk to Polo.
It used to be you had to get the... you had to do the Atlas path. But yeah, see, if I go through this one now, does that mean that I won't see any of them until I talk to Polo again, like we used to? Oh, we're in an outlaw station. Notice that when I selected it. Might as well pop in here. Get it on our list. Obviously, under the rules we've established, we can't get any X-Class modules, which makes it pointless buying stuff from here to get X-Class modules. There's still things here we can buy more readily, like suspicious packets, arms, but they're going to give it X-Class modules, but at least we could sell them. But I'm not that worried about nanites at the moment. I suppose I could get some nanites from that, but it's not going to be a huge amount. But I could buy the goods because we're going to other systems.
Product received.
still got that debate about whether these rules were allowed to buy solars. I'm starting to err on the side of not being allowed to buy solars, which was Gravnaught's argument.
Gravnaught says, what? I can't buy the suspicious arms and tech.
I didn't say you couldn't buy the suspicious arms and tech. I said that you'd probably only get X-class modules, and X-class modules are not allowed. I didn't say you couldn't buy them. I said I wasn't going to buy them. You could definitely get stuff from the suspicious goods, for instance. Right, let's see if we can avoid the authorities long enough to get into the space station.
Says, so I can buy them and then sell them for nanites.
Yes, you can.
Correct.
Yes. Emergency broadcast. Are we getting a settlement now?
Gravnaught says, thank goodness.
I mean, you could do a settlement, but I don't think that's really going to help with this challenge.
Units received. Units received.
Got anything for me? Yes, you have. Should maybe get a few more hybridro, but my think is I won't be hanging on to this ship very long. Should have looked to see what the multi-tools were. See, I'm going back to Sam Vimes saying, what was he saying? I would actually click on it. Was it Sam Vimes or was it somebody else? Yes.
Sam Vimes 9258 says, personally, I'm hoping for a LNF announcement, and probably a large lore update. I'd like a big building update, but I've almost given up hope of that.
So we talked about the building element of that, but yes, I would love to see lore. We didn't really talk about that in the section of what we'd like to see or what we expect. I would love to see an end to the whole Void Mother story that was satisfying, because I have a feeling they did end it, but it's just that most of us weren't satisfied with it, and so we didn't see it as an ending, whereas I felt like it kind of was an ending. I think I said as much at the time, but I don't think many people wanted that to be the ending. I'm going to go to that before we move. I think they wanted a more satisfying, complete, wrapped up ending. Have I not got enough? Oh no, I haven't got paraffinium at the moment. Just get that at the same time. I'm just going to do this so that I can go to the trade station.
infested paradise. I suppose we could go there. Don't relish the idea of going to an infested paradise. That's the same one. That's obviously hidden behind there. Yeah, so I'd like that. It would be nice. But to the other point, a Light No Fire announcement, I honestly don't think that we're going to get that. I don't think that would distract from the update. I have a feeling that they'll get all of this out the way. We'll get the 10th anniversary out the way. They'll say, "Oh, and have you seen our latest games? Go to Steam to what's the word? Not like, not follow. Can't remember what the word is, but go to Steam and select it as something you want for later." And then they'll not say anything more about Light No Fire until the Games Awards. That's my hunch. And the Light No Fire Reddit page will be as upset as always that they haven't heard anything about Light No Fire. We've still got no clues. Is it ever coming out? Blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I would make exactly the same decision if I were them. That's what I would do if I were them. I would not mention Light No Fire until the proper reveal of a release date. With a better trailer, more details about what the game's going to be. This is always dangerous. Don't fire anything. Don't go to the edge. It's always dangerous in perma. You can die like this quite easily. Because you suddenly get thrown towards the ground in just that bit on the edge. It's almost worth not being on this planet. We've got aggressive sentinels and also the possibility of being thrown into the air.
Graph Nord says, reminds me of Hulk Smash. I've died to those.
Yeah, they're nasty. They seem quite innocent and you don't think anything of them because in normal mode and other easier modes you don't have to worry about them. But in this mode, let's see if we can get the sentinels off my back. I was lucky there. I was able to, I had a bit of momentum so it didn't throw me to the ground. There's this kind of thing where it goes up and then there's a bit of a down force right around the edges. Need to be careful.
Lord says, they follow you for 2 minutes and then they dissipate.
I think we might be away from them. So we've still got the sentinels. Right, where was the... paraffin for anything else at the moment, but it will be useful at some point when we get an exocraft. Oh, that sentinel. Sentinels don't usually pop when you're mining, but because this is an extreme sentinel planet, they pop just because they're nearby. It wasn't my activity that made them pop. It's just that we're on an extreme sentinel planet. Obviously, if you mine rocks and stuff, the terrain manipulator doesn't usually do anything. It's not showing me. Ow, what was that? Right, let's get away from them again. I'm beginning to think this isn't the best planet to be doing this on. Three, 2, 1, 0. Let's get around them.
Warning.
Ah,
Drones activated.
that was obviously too close. Come over here.
Alert. Navigational data received.
Okay, so we've done enough for that. I'm going to get off this planet before anything else nasty happens. I know I shouldn't have come here. I did say I don't fancy the idea of going there. Now, no, I haven't got any alert. Now, the reason I came here, I thought I had some paraffinium on me, but obviously I didn't. And I was thinking if I've got paraffinium on me, it will take me straight to a trade post. And I'm going to keep an eye out in the trade posts for the exosuit maps, charts. I've got a couple of those, but I'll buy a couple of those just so I can get a few resources later if I need them.
Received.
Maybe a few more of those. I don't really need them, but I don't need the money. I don't know where I'm going to go when I go through the black hole, so it's not worth using economy. Go through the black hole and then go to the mission agent on the other side.
hole's over there somewhere. Yeah, it's just about 10 o'clock from there. So let's stop when we get close. There we go. First thing I want to check when I get through this black hole is whether or not we do see other black holes immediately, or whether we have to go and talk to Polo like we used to. No. Oh no, I saw one and then it disappeared. Oh no, there it is. So we do still see them. Excellent. So once you've unlocked black holes, you've unlocked black holes, it seems. Interesting. I was never sure, because I haven't paid that much. Usually if I'm running a new save, I'll just run straight through the story very fast. We're still in the same guy. No, I didn't do in those other systems. I didn't buy new upgrades. System are we in? We are in... Right, I'm going to mark the furthest towards the centre each time by a C letter. So C1. If it's undiscovered, of course. So I know the closest I've got to the middle. And it should be the last system. I keep forgetting to get rid of that. I already got that one. But I came here for this. And we go to the anomaly. I guess what we could do is, instead of going for the exosuit upgrade modules, we could just travel. But the thing is, we're not as efficient at traveling right now, so I don't think it would help us. We're better off when we get a higher, when we get to the next class. We've got one. So I feel like it's a diminishing return. Well, it's an upside down. You get higher returns. What's the opposite for diminishing? Growing? That's not the right word, is it? increasing returns will do. We will get further and travel further with a better ship, with better hyperdrive modules. If we focus on getting a better ship with better hyperdrive modules, we'll probably overtake ourselves if we weren't focusing on that and we were just using the C-class, if you see what I mean. I'm sure I went to another system. Oh no, that was the pirate system, but we can go to the pirate system from here. Then we'd be backtracking a bit, but it doesn't really matter. Just one more for that 5, and then we need 10 more. While I'm in the anomaly, I need to go to Ares because I keep getting pop-ups. The thing I keep not looking at is what the mission is in the Nexus, because that can help us. See, that could help us, for instance, but I don't really want to hunt dangerous pirates at this stage. That's not too hard, but it's not taking us anywhere as fun. But if it said something like activated Indium, it could take us to a place where we can get something useful for later, and something that's expensive and give us lots of ability to refine things. Give data creatures. Right, because we've been doing loads of milestones, he will give us plenty of nanites. It's giving me another one. I don't think I would have got the credit. I think I would have already got the credit for that.
Says, I never do hunt pirates without a phase beam or a full stack of sodium nitrate.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would be a sensible thing. Actually, I'm going to go back to the anomaly because we are in a pirate system, so... If there was one thing I could exploit as part of the system that I would like to see, is if you're in a pirate system and you go to the anomaly, you still can't use the teleporter to get to just any system, and you can't use the base teleporter to get to any system. That would be my ideal reverse quality of life almost. I just don't feel like the pirate system thing is worth it. The fact that we can't teleport to a normal system from a pirate system. If you can just pull up the anomaly, what's the point? went to the anomaly. Did I actually get the... No, I didn't actually get the thing. Never mind. We'll do it another time. Remember to go to the pirate system to get the anomaly. What was the other thing I was going to do? I was going to look at the... It's B, but it's not very good. B, it's a little bit better. Got 2 slots missing, but... 3 slots missing. Those are quite nice, though. They're quite close to each other.
Axon Ignition says, "That's a great mount. Fantastic slots. The pistol."
Oh, the slots on the pistol. Well, that's not bad either, I suppose. But that's kind of functionally the same with a gap in the middle.
Brian 9772 says, "A nerf I would like to see, but would make people really mad, is to make it so that you can only get interceptors from purple systems."
Maybe it could be nice. Make it more of an end game thing. Yeah, I can see why people will be upset, but I kind of agree. It could be nice. If I was going to nerf the interceptors, I would just stop them having things that aren't broken. If they're not broken, why aren't they broken? It would be a simple thing to make them broken, like Sentinel multi-tools. And then they wouldn't be such a big thing.
That would be a bigger challenge for interceptors.
Because at the moment they're just no brainer for if you want to get loads of money and nanites. But of course, we can't claim them in this challenge.
Frank,
we're not allowed them at all.
Nerf interceptors. That boat sailed a long time ago.
No, I think they could do it. They've done it before. Remember they when they nerfed activated indium and everybody was mad. People had been doing activated indium farms for years. They have actually nerfed interceptors once. They were getting even more money from them before. I'll try and find a 3-star economy. That'll do. That made a lot of people mad. It made me quite happy because I felt like it was getting to the point where people weren't playing the game. They were just building activated indium mines. And then that made them so rich they didn't need to play the game properly. But now I would say it's backslid because now we don't need money anyway. You just need to get all of the guilds up and running and then you're fine. What was the point of nerfing anything if you're going to bring the guilds in the way they have? The implementation is just wrong. Right, so we now have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We need one more. In fact, I'm almost tempted to say that it should be 50, but I'm not going to do it now because I've already set the rules for now. But if I do a revision of the rules at some point, 50 is a full screen, and we kind of said full screen. So really, 30 and 50 should be the first stage for this challenge, I think. But at the moment, we've started the challenge saying 60, so I'm going to stick to it. Even though 50 seems more logical. that would be my first candidate revision of the main core rules. What do you reckon? Do you think 50 or 60 makes the most sense? I mean, there is an argument for 60. I'll show you why in a second. In that 60 is exactly half. But 60 is also the second page. And that's why I think 50 might be the more logical number of... Because we say the maximum number of cargo slots is the one page, 30. And you're not allowed to increase beyond that. And then the first upgrade, 50, makes more sense to me because it's one page. What does everybody think? Those that mind. I don't think many people mind that much.
Graph Naught says 6 modules, 60 slots. 8 modules, 80 slots. 10 modules, 100 slots. Brian 9772 says, isn't 60 the cargo limit on a C-class ship? It makes sense to me that they'd match.
Well, this is why we did it, Brian. Exactly the reason we chose 60 in the first place is that because the maximum cargo on a C-class ship would be 60, then at least on a hauler, then, and I don't know if the others would be the same because I think they're different for different classes, for different types. Then it would be the same for the exosuit. So that was why we chose it originally, 60. That was the other logic that I didn't mention just then, but I'm going to see if that milestone actually gave me nanites. I'm going to go back to Ares a second. I already claimed it. It's just I got the milestone while I was running away from him. We're into another. We are into another 10-minute slot, so we'll check the rotation. Hacker pillar, surveyor planet, activated Indium. See this? Even if we don't select, even if we don't do anything with it, we're kind of exploiting the Nexus system. Because we're putting an activated Indium system into our teleporter list. Oh, it didn't let me. Why didn't it let me? That's weird. They nerfed that. It's abandoned the mission.
Says, there isn't any activated Indium within range.
But I've seen it go. I've seen it go huge distances, like across to the other side of the next.
Graph Naught says, happened to me 3 times.
I've seen it go to across the other side of a region. We'll test it again in a minute because we've got time to go to a different one. Mission signal scrambled, aborted. Have you managed to do it jump at all?
come back to that place in a bit.
Gravnaut says, I didn't pursue it. I just went on to other things.
I just wonder if they've nerfed it. That you're not allowed to use it as a method of... I mean, it would actually be quite a good nerf if you were going to nerf something. Jump a couple of jumps, and then we'll do it again. So we've still got 5 minutes before the 10-minute time limit is up. I'll just quickly land in the space station. Keep an eye on the clock. Should have time to jump again and then go to the anomaly. Fuel. That might slow me down if I haven't got any fuel. Haven't got the antimatter. No, probably not going to be able to do this in time because I don't think I've got the copper on me. I do have some copper on me. Hang on. Let's make all of that. Actually, let's make all of that apart from 30, so we can do the loop later. What's the minimum I need? Starship has got 0. We're going to need at least 2, aren't we? Try to put them in the same place. They are in the same place. Okay, now we need 23. I'm probably not going to do this in time.
Gravnaut says, go to the spawn system space station and then call in the anomaly there. That might take you far enough away.
I could try a different thing, but I think we're going to miss our opportunity now. Unless I am very quick. Oops. Okay, we're on 38, so... I might just do it. Call in the anomaly straight away. Nine.
Gravnaut says, Reddit says range is the issue, but my thought was that maybe I didn't have the correct hyperdrive module and that was the reason.
No, that's never stopped us. The hyperdrive, because we usually use this as a way of getting indium before you're allowed to get indium. Nope, it was range. System. Put it in my
I don't have to go and get the activated indium. It might be dangerous to do so. It depends on the planet, of course. Ow, ow. The most important thing I'm trying to get is the space station in a blue system, because then we can always come back. Let's call it I. It should be obvious from the colour of the thing, but we're looking through the list later. Actually, let me just, while we're here, let's go and have a look at the planet, see if it's nasty. If it's too nasty, I will not do it. If it's okay, for instance, if there's no storm currently, which there isn't at the moment. The planet below me is clear weather, because storms are synced across planets, it seems. Well, that does look like a storm going on. Maybe not. It does. Oh, is that a... Well, that's worth it. Get under here. Come on. Blimey, it's extreme. Look how fast that's going down. That's not protecting me either. Oh, it is here. Right, I'm going to go in through the side then. Usually go into the top through here, but getting away from the storm. This is a problem with C-class modules in an extreme storm planet.
Radiation protection. Temperature levels stabilizing.
Let's just give myself somewhere to run to. never been quite so careful.
Weather update. Storm clearing. Radiation protection falling.
Right, let's wait for this storm to go. Scan for the activated indium. That ship was stuck on the side then. Can I build one of those? Yes, I can. I'll scan for some more activated indium. Actually, I should put a base here rather than that. I'll use that somewhere else. Chromatic metal, got some in here. Get another storm in a minute. What's the betting? I didn't go to the last cargo thing on that last thing because I wanted to do this quicker, and now I'm delaying myself doing this.
Grafnord says, I just grabbed some indium and then expand it in the refiner.
Yeah, but I don't want to mess this one up because I want to leave that as, I don't want it flaking out on me like it sometimes can. So I want to go to a different activated indium. I suppose I could just get a couple, just wait here while it's not stormy. Nanotube, metal. Okay. I thought I bought some metal placing, so I won't do that right now. That should be enough to expand later. But I'm going to go and mine some just because it'll be very easy to do that. But if it storms, I'm going to cut out with my 2. But I'd like to do the mission because it will give me extra rewards as long as it doesn't get really nasty. I might even go back to that last cargo thing if it doesn't get too nasty. Dirty deposit. It's not the best deposit.
I don't think you can expand activated metals.
I don't need the act. No, I don't. That's why I'm saying I'd like to mine some in order to thing. But I can grab some normal indium. The activated indium will give me extra extra chromatic. I just need to grab some normal indium before I leave this system. Not for this mission, but for the ability to expand indium. So I was kind of humming and hawing whether it was worth waiting around and grabbing a load
Alphas 195.
from that thing. I don't think it's worth waiting around
If you accidentally
at all.
off a huge chunk of the deposit with the larger mining beam setting.
This is a nasty deposit. We're just not going to get enough for the mission here. We're going to run out.
Alphas 195 says, I do.
Incoming storm.
Axon Ignition says,
Uh-oh.
Alphas 195, if there wasn't another deposit not 200 units away.
Where's my... That was an incoming storm when there was already a storm, I believe. So we could theoretically get a tornado if we're not careful. So let's really go in. Deep. What are we doing in this crazy place?
Alphas 195 and then you spot some condensed metal and end up blowing it up with the terrain manipulator. Axon Ignition says, if you ever play another survival crafting game, Alphas 195, the first thing you'll notice, coming from NMS, is resource scarcity. Alphas 195 says, Nuu Graph Naught. Graph Naught says, condensed carbon.
I'm losing track of what on earth everybody's talking about. Because I was completely focused on the fact that there was a storm. And it's an extreme storm, and I heard a warning while it said storm.
Don't die.
So I'm going to stay here. I could even block my exit, so I definitely cannot be dragged out of my hole until this storm is over.
Axon Ignition says, drill a hole to...
No, I'm not doing that. I died once in permadeath doing exactly that with my exocraft. I thought, oh, I'll just get as close as I can to my exocraft. And then as I approached my exocraft to hit the enter exocraft button, I got dragged into a tornado. So I'm not doing that. I'm just going to hide in my hole.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Axon Ignition
See,
says,
look.
listen to the expert PH, aka me. Run for it. Run.
I just got another weather warning. Why did I get another weather warning and it looks like the storm's over? That doesn't make sense.
Alphas 195 says, ha. Back-to-back storms.
Or maybe the first weather warning was just the ordinary storm. No, it's gone back to extreme storm. It was a back-to-back storm. I'm going to be here for a while. We at least know that there are periods of calm.
Axon Ignition says, Cheers, mate.
This is going to taunt me, isn't it? Shouldn't have come here, it's saying. Although we have achieved what we wanted to do, which was get some activated indium and a source of indium on this system. What other planets have we got? Oh, we've got plenty of planets, so we've got other places we can get normal indium from. We only need a couple of normal indium. How much indium we got? 520, is that right? Let's look at the mission. 525, yeah. This might look a bit cowardice, but I have killed permadeaths in exactly this way before. Underestimating the capability of getting a tornado. The thing is, tornadoes aren't visible when you're in a hole. So you take one step towards the entrance of the hole and you just get pulled out of the hole.
Axon Ignition says, playing cautious and clever is not cowardice.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. It might look like it. You might think, oh, I'm just worried. I'm worried about something that's not going to happen, but I have seen it happen. Where is my ship?
Alphas 195 says, camera mode.
No, I don't like using camera mode. So I personally will choose not to use camera mode. Because it's kind of an exploit. Like, this is a bit of an exploit, but...
Axon Ignition says, did somebody is chat ask, is this how Artemis died?
Is Artemis really dead? Or in other words, did every iteration of Artemis die?
Alphas 195 says, oh come on Pharaoh have Euclid no camera mode.
I'm not saying that's part of the rules. I'm saying it's part of my personal rules.
Axon Ignition says, recharge your terrain manip.
Probably a good point.
Technology recharged.
Come on, get this extreme storm out of here.
Axon Ignition says, no camera mode, no rule, no 13, para 2.
There are only 7 or 8 rules, aren't there? I don't think I made any more than that. I think you'll find that Rule 17.43 clearly stipulates is there any underground stuff around? At least we have something to do while we're waiting. Look, it's the perfect place to do the industrial waste missions. Dioxide. Wow, this extreme weather is going on and on and on.
Axon Ignition says, we added more rules today. Rule number 12.
Weather update.
Do not accept anomaly missions.
Clearing at last.
Anything. Rule number 14. When in doubt, never get it out.
the ship now.
Alphas195 says, perfect place for industrial waste missions. Golden words.
Right, so we're relatively safe now. But I don't think this particular place is a good place for activated Indian. Actually, there's a little bit more we could probably mine. But if the storm kicks off again, I'm just getting in my ship. And then we'll... these blocks would work properly. They definitely don't work properly anymore. They used to disappear consistently. And now they are... No, they're not. It's just that it's run out. We've got 600 odd of the 900. So we just need one more proper deposit, really. There's one over there, 270 away. I'm going to fly there, just in case it storms. Gone the wrong way around. This is where the Minotaur would be handy. But we can't have that yet. That's salt. That's not the right one. Darn it. Closest. I'm sure I saw one that was nearby. That's probably going to be the one we've already got a thing on. Maybe that is... No, that's the one we got the thing on. So that's where we were. That's the one we've got the autonomous mining unit on. That's dioxide. Yeah, there's no others nearby.
Parmenter 1983 says, rule of acquisition 23, nothing is more important than your health except for your money.
Usually tell activated Indian from, so that's not one because it's not the right color. Best place to be looking either. There's such poor visibility. Oh, we got a ship though. It's only a... I don't know if it's really worth it just to land there just for the sake of the odd bits and pieces. We're not going to swap a ship at this stage. Seeing any activated Indium now. Oh, there's some. Is that some? No. No, that's just a shiny piece of ground. Let's have a look. Let's have a look around. I don't think that was the right colour, but then we are on a weird planet where the colours are weird, so maybe I'm missing it. 225, that's quite close. Why did we come here? Whose bright idea was this?
Axon Ignition says, Graph Norths.
Weather warning.
No, it was definitely my idea.
Graph North says, not mine. This is Pharaoh's.
This is all me. We do agree on the fact that it's a good idea to use the activated indium missions.
He loves a challenge.
But I don't think Gravnor ever said, why don't you mine out some activated indium while you're there and get the mission. I don't think anybody said that apart from me.
Axon Ignition says, we gotta do the mission. Nada and Polo depend on us.
They do. Right. Is there a storm at the moment? Doesn't look like it. I thought there was.
I just used the mission to land on a blue system space station and then abandon the mission.
Yeah, precisely. That's what I should have done. But I didn't. But then this is the thing that I always find when I'm playing permadeath, is that I just can't resist acting a little bit recklessly. So, it makes it more exciting if you're watching to see if I die. Is there a storm outside or not? Is this a storm? It feels like a storm. I'm not sure. I've nearly died this way before, just jumping out of a ship. It is an extreme storm.
Thermal protection. Warning.
Just wasn't telling me in the ship. Now, I don't see any obvious danger running back to this. So, okay, that's that done. Go to one other planet with the ordinary indium, and then we'll go back to the anomaly.
Graph Nord says, this challenge will take a long time to complete. I would not act recklessly if you have any intentions of seeing it through to the end. I plan on being super cautious.
Well, I haven't exactly I was acting recklessly within reason. I was being cautious once I got into danger. It is a little bit reckless, I acknowledge, but is that activate? Is that ordinary indium rather? I don't need to shoot it. Why am I shooting it? I just need to put my nose on it. Where's it gone? No, it isn't. weather here? I don't know because I haven't landed. Already got some of those, but I might as well get a bit more. Two charts, bit of salvage data, bit of navigation data.
Item received.
Might as well get these, even though I can't put them in yet. Don't need much indium, I just need a few.
Radiation protection falling.
What is trying to kill me?
Radiation protection falling.
Cat. That'll do. Back to the anomaly. And also get the thingy. The slot. I don't think we've been to the anomaly in this system before. I mean, it saves me making some life support gel. That's a nice amount of it. Right, so that is that completed. I think I'm probably going to wrap it up there. So I've been going for 3 hours. It's around about the time I get something to eat at about this time of day. So, we're most of the way to the B class. We've got the 6 C class modules. We only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Great stream, PH. Graph Nord says, good stream.
I thought that plan was going to get you.
Planet was going to get you though.
Well, it didn't. I never felt it was definitely going to. I just felt like I needed to suddenly act a bit more cautiously than I would otherwise. And it has got that kind of. You can see that my something to do with this thing here makes you end up in the midair. You can see my my general lack of caution until I get into trouble. That does sometimes kill me off in these games in permadeath. But anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for chatting, and travel well, and goodbye for now.
Alphas195 says, see your thanks